Good morning. My name is Kurt McDowell, and I'd like to welcome you to the webinar this morning. Um, I briefly wanted to introduce myself to you and tell you kind of where I've come from before I actually launch into the products and services that I'm going to recommend for you in the insurance industry. Actually came from the direct response industry, and there's kind of a group of us, some printers, some idea people that we all came together and established this company called Aspire North. My company is called McDowell Incentives. We've actually been in the direct response and the incentive business for over 28 years. But just over the course of time and working with a lot of people whose acumen I truly respect, we kind of picked each other's brains for a lot of the best practices that work for them, work for us. And we basically kind of grouped together and created this company called Aspire North, which brings together a lot of omni-channel, multi-channel marketing pieces that helps companies market themselves to the right audience, more or less. So I kind of wanted to show you briefly some of the kind of stuff that we've done before that you can take or leave, and then we'll launch straight into how we can help you market yourself more efficiently, because I wanted you to get in this webinar and out of this webinar within 30 minutes. So I want to make sure that I try to stay on task and do that for you. Perhaps you're familiar with some of these things that, the little Peel the Deal direct mail stickers. We've done a lot of those over the years. We also do a lot of stuff that gets people into brick and mortar stores. We did a little litho decoder direct mail piece that people had to bring in to redeem and see if they'd won a prize. We've done a lot of supermarket promotions and things like that. Think of the McDonald's Monopoly game. We've done a lot of similar things to that gets people to shop more. And if you know the metrics of the McDonald's game and our consumer promotions that we've done for stores, these stores generally get about a 20 to 30% lift in traffic during these traffic times. So these kinds of incentive programs actually really work. Then we move on to sort of modern day. Now you can text through text campaigns or on package campaigns. You see the cups here where people can have to bring in, or they can actually go to a website to redeem and see if they've gotten results. But the most interesting thing is, in my 28 years of business, and my father was actually in the business since 71. So if you really think about it, I'm second generation. I've been exposed to it since 1971. But the interesting thing, if you see this little blue box in the lower right, that we kind of figured out, and just measuring the success rate, measuring our promotions, our creative, that really only about 20% of a promotion is the creative. And we used to think it was 80% was our creative ideas. 40% is the offer. And when I mean offer, it is not necessarily a giveaway, but the way you're framing your offer, the way you're framing who you are, how you brand yourself, and all that. But then the last 40% is data. And that's really kind of what we're really addressing today, is that data aspect. And if you don't have the right data, then how you market, how beautiful your collateral is not going to matter. So we're actually trying to give you a means to find who the right people are, and therefore market to that right person or people in your primary marketing area. So here's our methodology 1 through 5 here. Number one is we define and model your customer. We can either do that gleaning through your website, or you can give us your customer list and we can kind of figure it out that way. Number two is we find like customers. Three, we reach those customers. Four, we always measure, test, and roll out results. You should never roll out a marketing campaign that you cannot measure or test. And then five, we see what we did right, we see what we did wrong, we innovate, and then we try it again. And then obviously we've got all of these different multi-channel marketing tactics at our disposal, from direct mail to promotional products to all the digital products available, display advertising, pay-per-click, etc. These are probably things you've utilized yourselves, have used in the past. But when we can actually put all of these tactics together, it really helps you to shine even more. All right, we're going to jump right into just a good handful of ideas that are going to help put you where you need to be. And let's start first off. Okay, you're in the insurance business. It's a very, very competitive marketplace, especially on Google search. You may already employ, or if you sell for a larger company, they may employ SEO tactics to get you on front page. And really, in a nutshell, if you're not on the front page of search, you're losing 92% of all search traffic. But we also know that 61% of marketers are convinced that SEO is the key, organic SEO, to get you onto page one results, because people know what an ad is now. People know what organic results are, and 2/3 of people in the search are still looking for that organic result. If you currently pay a boutique marketing firm, a large advertising firm to do your SEO results, I wanted to introduce you to this product called Atrica. They're out of Germany. It's actually SEO software. So instead of having to pay a human to do what really only a computer could do, this is software that will actually help you get ranked within 3 months for 30 keywords, in 6 months up to 80 keywords, and get you on the front page of Google. And it starts out with 200 with 200 what they call anchor keywords, and then it builds itself up from there. I don't want to go too far into how Atrica works, but let's just put it this way. Every time Google changes its algorithm, and it can change its algorithm every time from 10 times a year to 800 times a year, and it has changed its algorithm that many times, the Atrica software automatically adjusts your performance keywords so that it's always promoting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, etc. And if you've actually paid somebody to do SEO for you, this software itself is really pennies on the dollar than what you would pay some other firm to get you ranked on page one further on down the line. Now, full disclosure, yes, we do sell Atrica, but there's other resellers in the area as well. If you're interested in something like this to help position you on front page of Google, let us know, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. All right, on to number two. Let's talk about keywords here. Okay, everybody knows by now that when somebody's interested in a product or service, 80% of the time they're going to go to Google, right? So what happens is in Google, and I probably should have thrown up a Google page here, but in Google, the top is going to have ads, at least 2 or 3 ads. Then you may have Google my business map listings. You might have a map in there. And then under that is your organic listings, right? But even then, you're going to have a percentage of people, maybe a 25% click on a Google ad for that keyword that people are searching for. You may have some people see, oh, there's somebody close to me on the map. So that's even more that's going away from a possibility view. And then by the time you get to the organic results, yes, there's going to be 2/3 that are going to click on one of those results, but still only 2/3 are going to click on those organic results, but still you've got to get a percentage of those 2/3 to click on you. How would you like it for us to actually get all of the people that search? We capture their IP, we trace that back to a home address, we find that physical address, we find an email if it's available, a phone number if it's available, and we actually can begin marketing to those people within 1 to 2 hours if we do it digitally. So think about, okay, we found their IP, we found their home address, we've got a phone number, we've got an email, we've got all different ways to market to this person. We can do it by postcard or direct mail. We can do it by digital ad. We can do it by email. We can use that email and find them on Facebook or other social media. So really, we've got a variety of ways that we can actually market to people instead of having to pay Google for Google ads for the full month. Because if you've ever paid for Google ads, you know these things. Number one, your budget's never big enough because somebody can always outbid you. Number two, once you spent your budget, then you're back to square one, you're back off of page one. And 40%, between 40% and 50% of traffic are bots. So a lot of times when you're trying to retarget to somebody or advertise to somebody, it's actually a computer you're marketing to, which is doing you no good. So digital listening, we actually listen for a specific set of keywords that are relevant to you, relevant to your service. We can do that both in Google search. We can also go to your competitors' pages. So think of a competitors. You want to grab a competitor's audience off of either search, off of their own website, or off of their social. Say if they've got 50,000 followers on Facebook and you've got only 500. Wouldn't you love to start marketing to their audience? We can actually socially listen into their audience as well, grab that audience and utilize all of those marketing tactics that we addressed before to market to those people. All right. So now we've talked about from a standpoint of SEO, we've talked about a standpoint of people searching for your product on Google or other search engines, and even on social media sites. Let's address your website, period. Okay. Obviously, if you with SEO, you're trying to maximize the interaction of people with your website. But still, let's say you have the perfect website. Still, only about 4% of people are really going to fill out a form and raise their hand and say, I'm interested, right? What are you going to do with those 96% of people? They're going to be anonymous, but we can make them known to you. So we basically place a pixel on your site. And in the same way as before, we capture their IP, we trace it back to a home address, and then we have a variety of means to market to those people as well. So the great thing about this is they've been to your website, so they're obviously not just a suspect, but they're actually interested in your product or service. So they're already halfway raising their hand. So you know they're interested in. Some of the most effective marketing from Google's standpoint has been the retargeting marketing. If you've ever, say you've been to Amazon, you've been to a car dealer site or something like that, you looked at a product and then you left, and then all of a sudden you see ads for that product. That's what retargeting is. That's been kind of the most successful marketing in the past, because people have a recent interest and they're just trying to get your eyeballs back to their site. What you may not know is pretty soon, that's a cookie-based advertising approach. Pretty soon, cookies are going to go away. And cookies are little things that are lodged in your browser by a website to be able to track behavior. You know, with Apple, with Google, a lot of these companies are discontinuing that practice because of, number one, security issues, number two, privacy issues. So pretty soon, a lot of that cookie tracking software is going to go away. None of this IP tracking that we're talking about is cookie based at all. So when that stuff goes away within the next year, all of this kind of advertising is still going to be relevant because it's all IP based. And that's probably important. It's important for you to address with whoever does your marketing, is you want to make sure that you're not cookie based, that it's IP based. So anyway, so we grab everybody who visits your website, and we can actually scrub those against people that with an against an Experian database. We can scrub that and make sure that people are in a position to buy, because they may have searched for something else or wanted something else and they come to your website. So we can actually additionally you could market that 96%, but if we wanted to scrub against an Experian database to say, okay, we only want people who have credit scores of X, we want people who are income of Y, or we want to make sure that they are any of 200 or 300 fields that we want to measure, that we want to make sure they're the right audience for us. So that's an extra step that we can actually take. So basically, let's put it this way. Let's say 1,000 people visit your website. We can figure out that, say, 35% of that, 350 people, are just robots. They're not real people. We can find out an additional 100 of those people are not in position to buy your product or service, or say they're looking at cars. We know they have bad credit. We know they don't have the income for it, so we can get rid of that. So basically by kind of filtering out these non-prospects, we can get you to a really good 30 to 40% of that 1,000, say 400 people that are really in the market to buy. They're raising their hand to buy, and not only that, they are in position to buy. They can afford your product or service, and they're ready to raise their hand now. So it's a lot more efficient, and you can be a lot more efficient in your marketing budget to market to just those 400 people than to market to that full 960 people, if you see what I mean. All right, moving on. So we can help you grab the people that have visited your website. We can help your website be on the first page of Google. Let's talk about different means of capturing people out in the world. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with geo-fencing. That is, let's say if you're a yogurt shop and you wanted to go out maybe 2 miles radius from your shop and create a circle all the way around it. And anybody who drives into that circle, you want to send them an offer to come in for a discounted yogurt cone or something like that. That would be, that's real-time marketing, and that's called geofencing. Now, in order for that to work, people have to have their devices on. So if they're driving down the road, that's not very likely, right? Or they might have it on, but they might not be listening. They've got to have the devices on. They've got to have an app open or a browser open, and they got to be willing to receive messages from you. That's a very, very small likelihood. Now, geo-framing, on the other hand, is where we actually draw a map around a building, say a building in a parking lot. It could be a venue like a stadium or an arena. But instead of being in real time, we can trace back over time. For instance, this week we're having the fair in my state. So what I've actually done is we've geofenced the fair, and we've geofenced the parking lot of the fair. So for the whole 10 days of the fair, we're capturing all the devices that go into that area. So my clients that want to market to those people that go to the fair are actually going to spend less money than they would if they would have actually had a booth at the fair to grab all the devices. And then we're going to scrub that database against an income bracket, a credit bracket, etc., and then market to those people. Just in the same way, we can do that for your audience. And let me explain a couple of ways that we are already doing that for you. When there is a home that gets listed for sale, we automatically add that to our GeoFrame database. So for instance, we're circling that address so we can identify any shoppers going in and out. We also know who the homeowner is, who the real estate agent is, so we can drop them out of that database collection practice. So think about this. When somebody's buying a home, that's when or making a big purchase. It could be a home, it could be a car. That's really the time that they're looking to change or possibly change their insurance agent, the insurance company that they're doing business with. So that's really one of the greatest times to actually earn and get their business. So wouldn't it be great if you could actually start marketing to them before they make the home purchase while they're still in the search zone? So that's why we've geoframed homes for sale. Auto dealerships, we've got every single auto dealership in the country geoframed. So we're capturing both in real time and we can go back 6 months. All the phones and devices that have gone into auto dealerships. So just like homes, when somebody's buying a new car, buy a new or a used car, that's usually the time where they're looking to either stay with their current insurance provider or look for a new one. We've also geoframed golf courses for that specific kind of middle to upper middle income segment, and also college campuses we're doing right now as well. That may not fit your market as much, but just know that we have that ability to geoframe specific geographical locations in the market. And in the same way, we geoframe that map location, we identify the devices in the location, then we can trace that back to a physical address, an email, a phone number if available, et cetera. And we've got just a myriad of ways to be able to market to that person. And remember, that person is already in the market to buy your product or service or change their mind from what their current provider is. All right, this last one, actually this is the second to last one, is portfolio protection. Now, we actually originally designed this for banks. So if you think about it, really, this is going to work for you as well. Okay, imagine this. Okay, you've got, say you're a decent sized insurance agency, you got 10,000 customers, 20,000 customers, whatever it is. Wouldn't you love to know when any of 12 that we've actually added, there's actually 15 key acts of life indicators now that we're tracking for people. But would you love to know if when somebody's getting ready to become a new parent, they got newly married, or their son or daughter got newly remarried, newly single, retired, graduate, empty nester, all of these things that happen, they're just life events, right? But wouldn't you love to know that so you could address that with your products and services before they address it somewhere else? Wouldn't you love to be the first person to address that? So if you look at these percentages of these things happening over the course of the year, it's basically you've got a 15 to 20% chance to either lose a customer or even gain a higher percentage of wallet of that customer. So that's not too bad. So what we've actually created is an additional listening service that we upload your customer database. And when you think, oh gosh, we don't want our data compromised, we are an Experian partner. So everything that we do is highly secure and it cannot be lost. So, but we basically upload your customer's database and we can actually listen for triggers. And we can actually send you a monthly report or a weekly report of how many triggers are happening in your area. And additionally, if you want, we can actually design campaigns that are designed to trigger within hours, if not a day or two, of a triggering event. So we can automate a lot of these actions that you want to happen, reaching out to them to give you a call, raise their hand that, yes, I'm interested in a phone call or a meeting, so that you can actually address any of these changing needs that they have going forward. These numbers here are really mainly for banking, but just think about if you those same 20% that could be lost. Put a dollar figure on that. How much is that going to cost you if you lost a customer? Say 15%, 10% of your customers a year. It's probably a pretty big number for you. So think of the potential replacement cost. Think of the average lifetime value that you lost. We know that for banks, it's about 15%. I would imagine insurance companies, it's similar. But if you're addressing these things automatically, then number one, you're building better rapport because your customers really understand that you care about them and that you're interested in what's happening in their lives. Number two, you're addressing a problem before it even happens. So Portfolio Protections is probably a product, out of the box that can help you, help you gain thousands and thousands of commissions and revenue over the course of a year. Okay, lastly, kind of in my wheelhouse, I wanted to address this. This is kind of, my father's been in the promotional business forever, but these are items that are just easy items that help you stay in front of people for years, literally years. This rain gauge down on the bottom, we've recommended for people before that we've had people that say their customers keep them for 10 years, 12 years. How would you love to be advertising to somebody for 12 years with one promotional product purchase? The same thing with the night lights, the outlet covers, and an easy way to touch base with customers and suspects and prospects all year long is sports schedules. Be the the company of choice giving out these sports schedules, because people will come to you. You're going to own their file cabinet, the refrigerator, and they will be, and you're going to be right there when they're ready to buy. And that's mainly what we're talking about. How can you be top of mind when they're ready to buy? And these are some easy products that we recommend to both our clients and to people that aren't our clients, that these work really well. Even if, if you don't have any pro teams, college teams in the area, but every sport, be the company of choice giving out these sports schedules. So with that, I'm actually forgot to add we have a grocery savings certificate that it works very well and for pennies on the dollar. And if you're interested in that, let us know as well. So, but with that, I wanted to end this. I know I didn't want to go much over the 30-minute mark, but once again, we'll take questions later. But I wanted to thank you for everything, and thank you for coming on the call. And if you've got any questions, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll take those now.